a signature blade of his own.
Hmm. Something I have never considered before. But either way, this is still a very thoughtful gift, Lady Castellan.
Castellan bows her head and says, "It's been my pleasure."
And thank you for considering my son as well.
Of course, I would never let your son be undefended. He'll have a dagger that will stand up to any foe.
Reaver kind of chuckles and says, Well, with my reputation, I would hope my son would also gain such a reputation.
She nods and she says, "Well, I may want you to remain off your vigil, but your companions have your back."
Hmm. I never doubted that nobody or that let me start.
he's broken up.
Pretty much. I swear I haven't been drinking, guys.
Coden is standing by you guys now, as looking like Kava.
Nay, I've never doubted any of us. Never had each other's backs. We are a close knit family, as it were, even if we are not all blood related.
So touching.
And Castellan looks to not Kava and says, in Draconic, "I think he likes it." I guess Castellan told Kava what she was planning when they were hanging out in the tavern.
I'll just fucking nod. Just she doesn't know what she's. I don't nod anyway.
No, that's funny.
As you guys, as the party continues to ride on the boat, the hours pass, and you begin to find yourselves getting deeper and deeper into the hills that surround you. The night begins to grow deeper, or rather, the sun begins to fade. But not only do you guys notice that the sunlight begins to fall with the setting of the sun, but you notice that something seems to change about the air. Something seems to grow a little bit thicker. The presence of what goes on around you seems to take on a more, I guess you could call it a heavier quality. And you notice that as you begin to pass along, as the river begins to continue on, you notice that the sailors who had been talking gayfully, maybe gambling a little bit off to the side, enjoying themselves on the way along the river, they begin to become a little bit more subdued, and they begin looking toward the banks of the river, specifically to the north. And as your attention turns that way as well, you notice that the hollow that you are in becomes much thicker. The woods themselves seem to grow more thicker and more lush, and there seems to be something of a mystical quality that seems to hang around the bushes.
Isildur is gonna take a long sniff of the air, holding her face up to see if she can smell anything awkward about the place.
Make a perception.
Coden, now wearing a Reaver skin, will go up to one of the.
And you guys can make a perception check to see if you notice Coden like switching back and forth on the disguise self stuff.
I'm gonna take disadvantage because Castellan is super pleased with the reception of the gift.
Okay.
Yeah, he'll go up to one of the sailors looking like Reaver and ask,
Well,
"What is this place?" And it'll sound like him too, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it copies the voice.
So, Isildur, when you begin to sniff the air, you definitely smell a very lush, very vibrant location. The smell is certainly, but it's stronger, as in like this place hasn't been disturbed in quite a while. There's no sign of any sign of, I guess you could say, industry or alteration of the area has been grown over with thick brush and forest, and you can almost hear something laughing. As Coden, as Not Reaver asks one of the sailors what's going on, he goes, "Oh, this is the Laughing Hollow, place of elves. They don't tend to take kindly to people messing with their stuff, than wild elves. So we usually tend to keep to ourselves as we cross the strait of the river, so we don't get on their beds."
My tiefling will lean over towards Castlin and be like, maybe I should play the elf song now.
Why do they call it the Laughing Hollow?
I never asked that question. I just don't know. I just know that's what it's called.
Castlin will lean over to the wood guard and say, maybe you should. I'm sorry, you were saying?
What's
No,
the-
that's all he had to say.
Right?
Can I make a check to see if Reaver knows what this place is, just off the top of his own head, since he's an elf?
Yeah, you can make a history check.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see the indication that rolled.
Oh.
14. You know that there is a tribe of wild elves that claims the Laughing Hollow as its own. They are very isolationist. They don't tend to like adventurers or anybody really coming in. You don't know the name of the clan, and you don't really know the specifics of the tribe themselves. They're so isolated, but you do know that this is elven territory, and they tend not to like adventurers tromping through. But you feel that if you stay on the boat and off the shore and out of the hollow itself, you'll be fine.
Can I make a performance check?
To play your song, yes.
Hell yeah! I'm gonna please all these elves and Reaver.
All right. So you guys are moving along, and you begin to hear music start dancing along the, mingling with lapping of the river alongside the boat. And as Eros begins to play, there is as Eros begins to play, the music is beautiful and it's great. But then all of a sudden,
What? What the hell? You did not take
Was that the
flute as
fucking
your
saxophone?
instrument. Take the flute as your instrument. Oh my god.
Fucking
That's
terrible.
the elven.
That's the elven song.
so despite that jarring sound, it's just so beautiful. It makes you guys just feel so good. And as it's going, all of a sudden, you hear as this music is going on, you see a bit of rag fly off the deck of off the boat and go straight toward the little flute that the Eros is playing, and stuff itself right into the end of the flute.
He stops playing and looks at the rag.
So funny.
Eros hears a
He looks around.
make a perception check.
Shit.
You don't see anything. This rag just came out of nowhere and stuffed itself into your flute.
Well, Reaver will still take very kindly to hearing such finely played elven music, even though it was interrupted. And look at the bard and say, that is quite a well played elven music. That
He puts one hand on his chest and then he bows, and like part of his cape kind of fluttering behind him. He goes, "Thank you. I spent a great deal of time training with elves." And then he does a little hair flip.
Why?
training with elves, huh?
Yes. Learning their sounds and their ways and their tunes. Their stories.
Well, there are many a story that an elf can tell you.
So as you're talking, you guys hear, all of you pretty much hear the flapping of wings.